Hello, and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we come here every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. in order to ignite our magic by tapping in or plugging into the source. God is always the source for me. And as we operate or show up in our power, we actually are given the energy or whatever is required for us to move on. And so we just actually talk about the moments that led us to our abracadabra. I use soul coaching, mentoring, poetry, and conversation. Why? Because we all have a story. We all have something that makes us who we are. We all have more to our bottom line. I mean, we all have something to say, something to offer the world. And so it's about igniting our voice by recognizing that nobody knows what's best for us like we do. Mm-hmm. You see your hat? We had.
Yeah, that messed up.
So yes, and so like we say every Monday through Friday, we just meet here just to have a conversation. It's when you want to know what it means to become your magic. Magic is just a supernatural force. And all that means is that you actually have a force in order to actually create the magic that is you. You actually have the power to choose those moments in order to be at your best self, in order to believe in the best about yourself, in order to show up in your assignment, show up in your responsibility, because your breath makes you responsible for impact. Your breath makes you responsible for the infection that you give to other people. And so we're asking ourselves in this season, how do we get in relationship with ourselves? How do we love ourselves? How do we actually go from love into like in order to gain favor? Like, what are those steps? What are we supposed to be doing in order to actually become the gift that we were created to be? What are we doing to actually enjoy the life that we are living, the life that we show up in, the who that we are? And so it's about being conscious. It's about being deliberate, which is intentional, meaning on purpose, in purpose. And so we have to be deliberate with our breath by recognizing that our intention is what's attached to our outcomes. And so it's more importantly, what were your intention in the beginning when you're actually going towards something, wanting something, believing for something. And so we have to set the right intentions. And intentions are set by mindset. They're set by reality, And so let me see. What you looking for? You got it over here on the dresser. Matter of fact.
Yeah, you got a blank screen.
I just got a black. Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what just happened. Anywho, let me give it. Hello. So yeah, I was trying to go into share. So this is the time that we have the opportunity to share.
Mic check.
Let me see. What is today's topic? Everybody knows we're going from the 365 days of loving yourself to life calendar. December is so the process won't be televised. The impact will, and so we are perspective with the Paulins. That's peanut butter and jelly, and so we're teaching you, or well, not actually teaching you. Well, from our perspective, because everybody has a lesson to teach due to what they've experienced, and so we give our perspective. Hopefully, you would chime in and actually help each other grow, because that's how we impact each other. Information, dedication, inspiration. So we can be inspired by one another, by wanting clarity to how do we get to what it is that we desire. That's when you're inspired by somebody. For me, if I'm inspired by somebody, I want to know more about what it is that they're inspiring me in. And so that's how we actually grow into our passions and into our purpose, because we start to discover ourselves, and then we get to see people who inspire us in that discovery, and we get the tools we need to what? To show up for ourselves. We get the tools we need to be brave enough to ask for what we want. So I think it's powerful that, even in the word it says ask in order to receive. So I got to be able to know what I need in order to ask for it. So that's that homework you got to do. That's that self-love. That's that conversation. That's that clocking into you. That's I hire myself for this area, for this moment, for this momentum that I want to create. I hire myself. And that's what clocking into you is all about. That's what becoming your magic is all about. It's about discovering that you are the force that you're waiting on, that you are the dream that you desire, that you get to create it with your action, with your steps, with your dedication, by knowing. Hey, how you doing, Brown, Mr. William Brown? And so that's what life is all about, is really showing up in that. And so today we are talking about celebrate yourself in the midst of your journey. Celebrate yourself in the midst of your journey. And I think that's very instrumental, especially right now where we are. Many people had a different perspective of what 2020 would be. Many people had a different dream of what 2020 would be. And so when we're thinking about celebrating yourself in the midst of your journey, it's being able to accept that maybe where you envision yourself to be at the end of this year may not be where you are. Because circumstances and situations arise, right? Stuff that is out of our control. But it's not more important that you are in the dream that you want, but it's more important that your soul is in the condition that you want it to be. I think we are focused on outside stuff, but not the condition of what our soul is in. So when your soul is in the right posture, when you can celebrate in the midst of the journey, it just means that no matter what turns come, that you will be grateful and you'll be able to celebrate what you were able to do, what you were able to accomplish. Because anytime you're making plans for what you want, given the conditions that you're in. That's why you really can't plan so much for the details of how stuff happened. You can just make yourself open to it happening so that you can seize those moments, those opportunities, and those situations. And so when I say that we got to be okay with recognizing that our soul posture means that although at the beginning of the year, when I created this vision for myself, I realized that I didn't accomplish it. I have to accept, first of all, I have to be accountable to, was the goal accomplishable in this season, given the conditions that happened that, I didn't see coming. Then I have to say, did I go as far as I could go, given the condition of the season for what I wanted for myself? Now, if the answer is yes, then there is nothing to worry about. If the answer is no, guess what you do if your answer is no? You create a plan from that point. You decide, well, what area could I have showed up in that I didn't need that? So, eliminate the excuses by being as proactive in the places that you can be proactive in order to enjoy the midst of the journey. Because when you don't have to blame yourself, isn't it easier to deal with stuff when the blame ain't on you? How many people is easier to be like, oh yeah, I'm winning this argument. I got this evidence. It's easier. It's so much easier for me to, be okay with a situation when the blame is not on me. And so I think that when we don't recognize that we have power and we make choices and we can actually enjoy no matter where we are in life, no matter what we're still waiting for, just the evidence of being in today, being yesterday's dream for tomorrow, right? And so that's what life is all about, is seizing those moments, those opportunities to celebrate what you've done already, to celebrate who you're becoming, to celebrate the dream that you at least had and how you work toward that. Is there anything you want to add to what I'm saying? Let me share myself. I did all that talking and I haven't even shared. We haven't even gotten to the 15-minute mark where we really dig into the topic of celebrate yourself in the midst of your journey. When you think about celebrating yourself in the midst of your journey, What do you celebrate yourself for? And I mean, the journey is acknowledging everything that got you to this point, because it's wages. Just like they said, the wages of sin is death. The wages of celebration is life. We can always find an opposite effect to enhance the quality of our life in the direction that we choose to send it in.
Well, I think the celebration is more so like just being grateful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can be grateful for where you are in your situation. Where you might not be where you're trying to get to. You might not be where you want to be at,
mm-hmm.
or where you want to be, but you should be grateful on the strides that you're taking to get there.
Towards your dreams, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's how you celebrate, not necessarily having a party. And,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We toasting up, taking shots every time something good happens.
Yeah, but celebrate could be whatever it means to you.
I think it's just being grateful. It's like, yes, we did it. High five somebody, And
I think to celebrate is just to acknowledge.
Remember, even when I play like the games on my phone, everybody got games on their phone. I got a whole bunch of games, word games, Bone Breakers, and Panda Pop, and stuff like that.
Hello,
and I've been on the board for about a week or 2 weeks. I finally passed the board.
Sometimes I got our view up here.
Sometimes I find myself just hitting the yes, and my wife should be tripping off of that stuff. Like
I always know when he made a good move. Whether it's the spades on his phone, man, he always does a.
Gratefulness to have a great mind. I got to be grateful to have a great mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a millionaire mindset. I just don't have the whole $1 million yet, but I have a millionaire mindset.
Got you.
So,
and I think that's what it is. To celebrate is to acknowledge, and to celebrate is to acknowledge the good stuff, So often we acknowledge, the bad stuff. And that's normally when you're comfortable complaining. But to celebrate is to be acknowledging the grace on your life, acknowledging from whence you came, acknowledging, looking at your life from the advantage point and not the disadvantage point is to celebrate. Often people will say people would trade their lives for yours, depending on where you are. So you could be feeling like, oh, my life is so bad. And then just because somebody comes in and open up their mouth, you were like, oh, wait a minute. It's not as bad as I thought, And so it's actually bringing that energy of celebration, making it okay to honor each other's successes, like starting to create that atmosphere. Because too often we don't honor each other's successes. We don't, not to that point. Not even each other. Ourselves. To celebrate ourselves really first. I think we actually do pretty good at acknowledging other people, because that's sometimes when envy comes in. Some of us. Because envy sometimes is born when you don't understand the difference between acknowledging and wanting, And so it's about us really seeing ourselves celebrating who we are first, so that we can celebrate each other, in the midst of where we're going, in the midst of what we're doing, that we can celebrate the dream that we have for ourselves, that we can celebrate that even in the midst of so much chaos, that we still found peace, that we still found a laughter in us, How hard is it to laugh for some people? And so it's recognizing that somebody went this whole day without a laugh. Somebody went this whole day without the need to want to smile. And so I think it makes you more grateful when you're having those laughing moments, or being more grateful when you're sitting around watching a movie with your family, being more grateful when you can afford to give your family a Christmas, you know what I mean? Because you recognize that there are other people who are in different circumstances or situations. And of course, their life didn't pan out or plan the way it goes, but it's about us understanding that we still got to find peace and joy, even in those valley moments, because that's when we find that spark to kind of get up. That's when we find that spark to kind of show up, and not to be shameful of the journey after you're all done, because you're more proud. You wanna remind everybody of your abracadabra because you want to make them forget about the moments that they're stuck on. And so the more magical you become, the more confident you are about your yesterday, because you realize you can stand in the fact that, well, I needed that because look what I did with it.
What up, Nate?
And so when we can do something with it, it really helps us feel better. It helps us see ourselves better. What you was about to say?
I understand. What's up, Nate?
Oh. Got you. And so I want to know, what are you celebrating in this journey for you? What did you want for this year that you can say, you know what, even in the midst of pandemic, I still found time. Like, even if you had all the time in the world, but if you're in a depressed state, or you're in a sad place, you cannot be as creative, or you cannot see that dream the same. So let's say that was your experience. How do you get out of those moments of being stuck in not living in the reality that you saw before you got to that moment? Do you understand what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, how do you deal with the moment when it's not actually exactly what you want it to be?
People deal with it all type of ways.
Yeah, but I'm saying how? How do you deal with it?
Me, how do I deal with it?
How do you deal with it?
I get frustrated and mad. I'm not happy with what I at a lot of times at the point it happens. Like, say if I have something and it doesn't go as planned, I plan everything right and it still don't go like how I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like CIAA, prime example. No, that's not a prime example. But I'm trying to give an example. I know what you're saying. I know I've done it.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to express.
What you do when you.
I get mad, but after it's said and done, when you have hindsight, you're like, damn, I'm glad that didn't work out. Or I'm glad that played out like that. I would have been messed up if I would have blah, blah, blah. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's what I wanted Rondell to say. And I'm glad he said that, because that's the point. You are automatically going to react for how it didn't work out or what you want. But the next thing you do is then you adjust. See, the problem is if you recognize that you don't have, or you're not where, or it is not what you want at the time, the way you celebrate in the midst of the journey is you adjust. That you trust that you cannot dictate the condition that is going to be required for you to come out of that situation or circumstances in the peace or in the
That's right.
The shape that you belong. So you don't know what more you have to do. So being able to adjust in the moment, not giving up, is where faith is born, is where that work is born, is where you discover more tools in your toolbox, should we say. So if I'm used to using that all the time, I'm mastered using banging it. But sometimes you got to get to a room where you need the Phillips screwdriver. So now you're going to have to learn to use that tool. And so life is about recognizing that if you can plan it out, then it's comfortable. The minute life becomes uncomfortable, you find ways to use different tools that you've been given that are rusty. So I think pandemic made us go inside that toolbox to celebrate the things that got rusty that still have value. Yeah. So we were able to do something with it in the season.
Another example. You pray, ask God for a car, right? Mm-hmm. Someone calls you, I got this car for $200. You're like, oh my God, I had $250. So now you got enough money to get the car. Car's a good car, runs good, you just don't have AC, right? So now you bought the car and don't have AC, so it's hot. It's hot in the car. And you might be upset about that. I don't got this car, I ain't got no AC. Normally people would be upset that they don't have AC after they get the car, not realizing that you went from walking to a car. And the reason why you didn't have AC is because what it did was stop all those people that would have used you for rides and asked to borrow your car.
So it
out of the picture. It protected you. It's something that you didn't even have hindsight to see. But see, that's how it works out. Everything, it's always gonna work out to your good. And at the moment, it might not seem like may seem like it's some bunch of bullshit, but
yeah,
it's always gonna be for your good, man. We just don't see it till later.
And I think it's because the spirit suffers from short-term memory loss. You forget. No, the flesh, not the spirit. Sorry, the flesh suffers from short-term memory loss because you forget what you got through. You forgot the dream that you had yesterday, the evidence of today. So, prime example, wanting a car and going from the bus stop to the car, but then that not being enough. So, wanting the job. And then once you get the job, you're like, oh, I don't like the people, And then so it's always something that God gets you uncomfortable with because it's always going to be enough when you don't have that particular thing. And then once you fill up on that, then you're going to need more. That's what building your capacity is all about. That's what leveling up means. So I don't need last year what I need this year. But because I'm in relationship with myself, because I'm celebrating myself through the journey, I can expand my belief system. I can expand what I believe for myself. 3 years ago, I wouldn't believe I could write a children's book. But now I can expand my belief system. I leveled up a little more. And so life is about recognizing when we begin to level up in the celebrations, when we begin to acknowledge from how far we came. So we are celebrating in order to have the confidence to keep on creating for tomorrow. Because as long as I can remember that good thing I did, it's going to keep on inspiring me to keep on wanting to do something more, create something better, help somebody new, change somebody else's life, show up on the show, write a book, whatever it is, cook that meal, have that conversation, start that line, be the best employee to my boss who honors me, So whatever that thing is for you, it's about celebrating where you are, even if it wasn't what you planned for yourself. Because if all thing works out for the good of you, the thing is you just don't know what's good for you. You don't know how you needed to crawl before you walk, and jog before you run, and run before you become that Olympian, that gold medalist. It started from a process that they were willing to be at this level, at the best at this level before they went to a new level. So they mastered themselves from place to place. So if you're not celebrating yesterday's work, then you're not mastering the soul posture of today. And so to celebrate yourself in the midst of the journey is to say, I will always honor my soul's posture for what they got me through up until today. That I had to get to this point, that I have to celebrate that I am only where I am because of how I got here, because of me not giving up, because of all of the evidence that showed my strength that I processed through. And so I think that's so important for us to lean in on, that whole aspect.
Hire yourself, baby.
Hire yourself, and I want people to understand that hiring yourself is really being able to commit to the areas of your life that you want more of, that you want to feel more full in, that you want to feel more confident in, And so you got to create that momentum again. You got to create that intention. And so we create intentions. You heard that, right? Was that a thing, Abel? We create our intentions by how we show up. We create our intentions by how we love ourselves. We create our intentions by our follow through, And so, like we said, that celebration of your follow through is what gives you the courage, the strength, the audacity to keep on going, the audacity to keep on believing in yourself, the audacity to keep on dreaming another dream, the audacity to not have enough, but act like you have it all. That's audacity. That's confidence, That's belief. That's faith,
Oh, what's up?
And moving through it and walking through it and working of a kind, is what makes you brilliant. Who is that?
Much.
Oh, that's what it is. You gotta hire yourself. Let's see, we had a couple of comments. Melissa says, I'm celebrating new growth, baby. I'm green in a bunch of new areas, but man, the seeds have sprung. I'm nursing these baby growths and tending to this garden. And I'm telling you, you are. I mean, shout out to Melissa. If you're not catching Lessons and Legacies at 2 p.m. from Monday through Friday, because she hired herself. She committed to the thing that she wanted to create momentum in. Now you have this amazing show that is like reaching the masses, touching hearts, giving different perspectives. Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to create. Those are acts of kindness. To give of your time, that's service. And so when you come on and when you share yourself effortlessly, that is an act of service. And so we came to serve at some capacity. We came to bring something. We came to celebrate ourselves in order to celebrate one another. I gotta celebrate me first so that I can offer you the best I have. And so that's what it's about, walking through the journey, understanding where you're going, tapping into your mindset, creating that foundation.
And they say if one hammer doesn't work, get a bigger, better hammer. I don't do that for real.
He said, yeah, Nace was laughing at your CIAA example. Man. He says, every freaking year. Listen, miss all of that. They going now. Nate says when. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You already said that. I'm slow.
So good.
Go with the current momentum. That's it. Go with the current momentum. And that's what life is all about. It's about creating momentum for your life. It's about creating that momentum of celebration.
Mm-hmm.
That's a momentum you want to create. Because then you'll get used to doing that. Just like the example you gave yesterday. Before, the young boy was always walking in the room thinking negative, thinking people were thinking negative about him because of what he thought inside his head. But once he changed what he was saying to himself, he changed what he thought people was thinking about him. Same thing. Getting that momentum in your life. Creating that, being able to say that I get to acknowledge that I get to have my life flow the way I want it to flow. By how I show up. By the choices I make. By what I celebrate. What I put my energy into. And so that's key. It's super key to know what you're putting your energy into. It's super key to be responsible for your journey. To be responsible in your journey, through your journey. You know what I mean? And so that's what life is all about. Oh, I'm looking for pressure thoughts from the soul. Oh my goodness. The kids, remember, you get no breaks. You get no breaks. This is pandemic, baby. Now that's a new norm. I never thought that we would see the kids 365 days straight this last year. Had no idea, but guess what? We dealt with it. We created new outlets. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do. So yeah, it may not be the plan, but guess what? You get to plan your life though. You get to create whatever you want in the moment. You get to change it up. You're writing. You can erase. You can backspace, delete. You can accept. You can acknowledge.
You have to celebrate the small wins.
And yeah, talk about that because I think that's huge.
You have to celebrate the small wins and smile through the losses. If you learn how to do that in life, man, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You don't got to be happy with the losses, but you got to be able to smile through. You know what? I know what to do next time. That's all.
I want to read How Tall Is Your Ladder. I think that'll be a really good poem for
You reading poems now? I didn't know you did poetry.
Don't do that.
Let's hear the poet.
How tall is your
songs?
How tall is your ladder?
Read.
No, I was trying to decide if I wanted to. Okay, I'll start with that one. It says, "Where is your faith when you can't see? Where is that burning desire to know that things will always be? Can you see your dreams when lying in the dark? Will you allow God to come in and be your undying spark? Where is your faith when the rain seems to pour? Why is it that you believe there will be sunshine no more? Don't you know that pain and love is what gives balance to all? Did you realize we will never appreciate standing if we never had to fall? Can you see the world still turns even when you stand still? Because it's not in our power, but it is God's will. Where is your faith when it seems you are standing on your last leg? Why is it you still don't drop to your knees and beg? Beg God for forgiveness for not coming to Him first. Why wait to the point when your situation has gotten worse? For when we have faith in God, He is the first that you call, not after you have exhausted every possibility and your back is against the wall. For the sky is the limit, but your faith is the ladder to the gifts God holds. But if you don't believe in His power, then your future will not unfold. For God has your life wrapped up, waiting to see just how long it will take for you to get to be. So again, I ask, how tall is your ladder to the things you want and need? For it starts with your faith in God, which will determine will you succeed. So let's start building our ladder of faith to the sky. For it's only our faith, love, and relationship with God that will get us by. I think that was a good hit for what we were talking about. What do you think? How tall is your ladder? If you don't already have this book, you can get it at preciouscalling.com. You cannot find this on Amazon. This is a collector's edition. This was back before we had all that good stuff. But yes, so I mean, can you think about that? How tall is your ladder? Because that decides how much you're celebrating in the midst of not getting everything you want. You know, that's how you say how tall your ladder is. So are we spoiled? You know, when everything doesn't work out exactly like we wanted to, are we spoiled? Are we pouting in life? Are we saying, okay, well, I thought it was going to work out this way, but it didn't. So let's go back to the drawing board. How are you showing up? How are you being accountable to changing your outcome? Because we all know that insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. And so you got to start asking yourself, what is the condition of my life right now? And do I do more celebrating or more complaining? That's what we say. What is the condition of my life right now? And do I do more celebrating or more complaining? And then we can figure out where do we need to change your direction? Where do we need to shift? So now if your life is going in a direction that you wanted to go in, then you are just creating that momentum and the momentum that you want. You know, because if you don't got everything you in and you got to slow down and stop and fix that, you're going to slow down your process. So it's best to be mindful, right? Be intentional. Make sure that you are taking care of the vehicle that is you while you're speeding through life, or while you're on a pit stop in life, or while you're getting off the exit to start on a new journey in life. You know, it's just a highway. We are on a highway to ourselves. But it doesn't matter how tall our ladder is.
Yeah, it don't matter.
You know, it does matter how much we show up for ourselves.
You have to celebrate your small successes, even if it didn't go as planned. You got to celebrate yourself.
And you know what? Thank you, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can never appreciate standing if you never had to fall. Come on now, that's a word. Hi, Brittany. Hey, Kendrick. But yeah, I mean, it's so true. Because that's a question we got to ask ourselves. How tall is our ladder?
Mm-hmm.
And how tall your ladder is about your faith, your belief, your celebration. Because the more I celebrate, the more I acknowledge how far I've come and not how far I still have to go. You understand what I'm saying? The more I celebrate, the more I acknowledge how far I've come and not how far I have to go. And so it's easier to recognize everything that's behind us. It gives us the confidence to keep on climbing, to keep on working, to keep on trucking, to keep on leveling up in ourselves. Because the more you level up, the more you can see. Do you realize the higher you go, the more perspective you get? If I'm down here at the bottom of the ladder, I can kind of see, everybody at eye level. But if it's crowded in the room, I can't see anybody at the bottom of the ladder. Let's think about a ladder. I can't see everybody if the room is crowded and I'm at the bottom of the ladder. But if the ladder is there and I begin to climb, every step I take higher, the clearer the picture becomes. So now if I get comfortable or I get sad or I get conditioned and being complacent, then I only see the level that I climb to. But you see, the more I climb up, the more I can see everything. The more stuff makes sense. And so it's understanding that if I can celebrate the journey, then I can keep on leveling up. I can keep on climbing. And the closer I get to where I'm going, the more it makes sense. And then it says, hindsight is 20/20. That means I had to get a clearer picture of it. And it required distance. And distance means time. And so if I'm climbing a ladder, in order for me to gain a better perspective, I'm taking time. Every time I take a step, it's taking more time away from the climb. And so that's just how you got to think about life. It's time. And once you commit to the time, then you commit to that level. Once you are willing to invest more time, you're willing to go to a higher level. And so all the life imitates spirit. I really believe that. And if we can look at all the evidence of life that symbolizes things, because everything we see was an insight. It was vision. So the person who created the ladder had some form of insight that if I would continue to build it up, then they can continue to rise and they can get high and they can reach to the thing that the normal person can't reach. You know what kind of insight for somebody to say, I need to be able to get to the thing that you couldn't reach just on your own? Before there was, I need to buy a ladder. You had to know that I had to buy a ladder, but somebody had to first think of the ladder. So that you could have the even thought pattern to know that if I can't reach it, then I need to go and purchase the thing that somebody had the insight to discover so that I had the benefit of using. And so that's what it is to celebrate every day. It's saying that you had the insight to celebrate what you were willing to go through to then make it evident so somebody can come along and perhaps use what that is that allowed you to level up.
And see, and then look, once whoever birthed the idea of the ladder, that gave dreams and inspirations for somebody to do the step ladder. You see
Come on now. Come on.
They went from the big long thing to, okay, well, what if I'm in the house? I just need something short. Oh, step ladder. You see that? You see how if you show up, you allow other people to show up and be great too? Everybody can be great.
Everybody.
Everybody.
At the same time, can you believe it?
Different things. You're going to be great at different things.
Absolutely.
But everybody can be great.
Yes.
At the thing that they're supposed to be great at. And it is what it is. Some people are great at a few things. Right? Some people ain't.
Yes, you do, Brittany. Yes, you do. And you're right. Some people are great at more.
What they're saying. Somebody that they're good for nothing person, good for nothing joker.
Oh, good for nothing.
Can a person really be good for nothing? Or is a person just lost and ain't found their way?
Well, I can tell you one thing. They're not good for nothing because anybody that cares mean they was worth something. So, not that somebody is good for nothing. They're not good for the somethings that you want. But they were good enough for something for you to even discover that you didn't. They wasn't good enough for the things that you want. Sometimes you get in a relationship and you're like, the somethings that you thought you wanted the most, you recognize over time that they didn't really matter that much, which is why they became good for nothing, because the somethings that attracted you didn't keep you. Does that make sense? You could be good for
nothing.
You can be good for, you can't be good for nothing.
So it's good in everybody.
It's good in everybody. You can't be good for nothing. Everybody has a something. I like to give that idea that even a murderer has a best friend. You got a mama, you got a brother, you got somebody who remember the good in you. And sometimes, it's like you mix stuff. If you mix pneumonia and pneumonia and Lysol together, you can erupt a fire. You can't put that together. You part of the whole bucket of smoke, pneumonia and bleach.
Yeah.
You'll start a thing. So they're good separate, but they're not good together.
People still clean with ammonia.
No, because too many problems probably happen. But I'm just saying. So that means they were good for what they were as separate, but once you put them together, it became a chemical combustion. It just couldn't coexist. And so that's why I say you're good for something. Sometimes when you realize that they are good for nothing, it just means that they have nothing that is good for you. And so that's why you let people go to find their best. And you want the best. We all want the best. And I'm talking about in relationships or relationships. We work on.
It's time to go be great.
We work on our relationships. You know what I mean? And so are we working on, how many people are really working? How many people can say that the relationships that they had in their close proximity in their homes got better in the pandemic? You were forced to hear each other, to enjoy each other, to rediscover the thing that you were so distracted doing.
Enjoy your spouse. Yes. Enjoy your quietness at home.
Yeah, I want us to take this time.
I got a cousin. My cousin said he loves it.
Yeah.
He loves working from home.
Yeah.
He's a school teacher. He loves it. He said he hope they don't never go back because he loves it. He loves it. It's remote.
I mean, with what they pay them, it's probably a better. It's probably making their lives better. It's because they don't have the travel, the back and forth, the lunch break. Because supplementing that income can make it more worth it. People be dragging. We have been dragging our teachers, dragging them to the point where at this point a lot of people are like, let them go. Mm-hmm. Let them go. I don't even care I don't care about the monster that's out there. We just, but the teachers, you got to appreciate what they offer. You know what I'm saying? You got to appreciate. And then you got the other part where you want to send them because they're missing relationship, and as once again, going back to us having the conditions and plans. And when life interrupts our plans, we have a hard time of trying to reinvent the wheel, like we were saying on Sunday. We really have a hard time reinventing the wheel, trying to do it differently because we have new conditions to live by. Like, it's so hard for people to change their mind. And you wonder why the world is so stuck. Renewing our mind is the one thing that we were told to do, the one thing that holds us back from our destinies. But so many people suffer from just changing their mind. So many people suffer from just everybody suffers at some capacity, right? Because we do have the opportunity to make the choices to change our lives. And so I think a lot of us suffer from the renewing of our mind because we are such, habitual? And I would say habitat type of people. We want stuff to be this way. We're used to it. We're used to rehearsing life and not really living life. And that's why when stuff unexpectedly happens, is not as many people so proactive to looking at it different or trying to create a new norm or, being okay with change. It's like, oh my God, I can't go to the gym. What will I do? Oh my God, I can't go out to eat. I like to eat. What will I do? You're thinking about somebody having to take a break for a year out of their norm. That's a renewal. That's a refill. If we actually want to be honest about what happened in 2020, it was a reset, and people are forgetting those words. It was a redirection. It was a turnaround. It was an experience that one day will be in the history books of saying, many of us lived through it. Many businesses was born in it. Many marriages and relationships were saved in it. And I'm talking saved from the perspective of parents or couples falling back in love, or even acknowledging that they are what is the word I'm looking for? That they're not good for each other. So creating a new norm, not getting stuck in just living life, because death has a way of making us celebrate life. Death has a way of making us celebrate the journey. And I think we have gotten access and have gotten the opportunity to kind of celebrate the journey of life, to start seeing the cup as half full, to start dreaming again. Why? Because it's like, wait, tomorrow's not promised. I was comfortable here and I didn't even like this job. Now I have time to focus on a dream. I always said, oh God, if I had time, if I had an excuse to be and dream, I would do it. And God said, well, I gave you an excuse. And I gave you time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And everybody's story is not the same. Everybody aren't home. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody. So I'm saying that everybody has a different perspective that is definitely going to be associated to what they needed in this season. There were different people who needed to discover different things, who needed to refresh different areas of their life, who needed to dream again, who needed to feel confident because they had no other choice. Some people, unless they got fired, would never show up for themselves. And so opportunities are born in valleys. That is where the value comes from.
She said her cousin just got, read
that. My cousin just got positive COVID results today, 34. She said even though she feels like crap, she's okay with having the time to cozy up and chill and detach for 10 days. Perspective. And that's a mindset.
I'll be scared as shit.
Right. And I think, what I think happened too? It got desensitized. What happened was when you desensitize something, you start feeling like, you're invincible, or I'll just deal with it, And I think COVID at the beginning was scary. And then once you start knowing this one caught it and this one survived and this one survived, you start feeling like it's no big deal. And that's what happens when we don't celebrate the journey. Because when you start thinking it's no big deal, you realize that the reason why the world is in the condition that it is because of the intention that we have for one another. Yeah. Not the quality of your life, but the intention that you have for somebody else's life. Enough to invest, enough to speak, enough to talk, enough to show up. So the intention of knowing that we're in a high risk situation right now, and knowing that, I may be in my youth, I may be fine, and you may be fine, but just a chance of knowing that somebody else who may have asthma, or somebody else who may not have the structure that I have, that I selfishly put myself out there to take risk. And some risks are worth it and some risks are not. And it's about us recognizing that it is isolation time. It is about quality over quantity. It is about really focusing on what matters. It is about identifying with favor, like, love. And when we have too much, it's hard to even appreciate what it is that's right before us. And I think if pandemic have taught us anything, it has taught us appreciation. It has taught us to celebrate the small stuff. It has taught us that we got the power to dream. And that all this time that we really didn't have the power at all when we don't control our happiness, when we don't have joy, when we don't have peace. And so pandemic can't take your joy or peace, because if you was working on that job that you love, then you can deal with you still going to work. But if you didn't love the job, then you're jealous of somebody who got laid off. That means you still interrupted your peace. That means you have to acknowledge that if this is not the place that you want to go, even in the midst of a storm, then you are robbing yourself of joy. And so we got to start creating plans to secure our joy and peace daily. Celebrate ourselves daily and make plans to create the celebrations that we want to have. And to celebrate just means to acknowledge what it is that you have, what it is that you enjoy, what it is that you've accomplished. Acknowledge the fact that maybe you can't have the biggest Christmas, but everybody's breathing. Everybody's here, Maybe you didn't have that year. I was supposed to be on a tour. This was supposed to be my best year yet. And now I'm trying to create an online business in a store. You know what I'm saying? And so surely I got rerouted, but guess what I launched? The ICMe Academy in the midst. So I went left field. Okay, that's not going to work out. That tour, I can't do that. What else can I do? It's about not being okay with no. It's saying I want it and I'm going to reroute myself. We all know that when you put something in a GPS and you go, no matter what are the things you encounter on the way there, you can always reroute yourself. You can always reroute yourself. And so we got to be clear about what we're encountering, what we're rerouting, what we're doing. And so I want to celebrate your rerouting in this season, because nobody expected this. Nobody. I didn't. You didn't. We all had dreams. 2020 was supposed to be the best year of our life, like we said. But I mean, like I said, we were going to gain favor, gain clarity into God's favor, to be liked by ourselves, that it was assignment time, that it was a leap year. And this year flew by. It was a leap year, y'all. If y'all forgot, this was a leap year. And I also said that you won't get double for your trouble. And so I believe that whatever you did in this season, however you showed up with your assignment, however you leveled up, however you showed up in the midst of the storm, if you were willing to and able to dance in the rain, not because life was perfect, not because everything worked itself out, but because you trusted the process. You trusted that you had the capability to celebrate every way to where you were going. And as long as you had it in your GPS, that you will find another way to get there. I want us to find another way to get to ourselves, to find another way to get to our dreams, to find another way to accomplish those goals, to find another way to get out of that darkness, that valley, that pain, that destruction. Find another way. And you find a way by celebrating today. Because today was yesterday's dream for yourself. Today.
And it's never too late to make a U-turn when you make mistakes.
Come on now.
It's okay. You made a mistake. Bust that U-turn. Come back around. Make it right.
Bust that U-turn, baby.
Bust that U-turn. Come back around and make it right. It's funny how I say U-turn.
Woo! Come on now. That's a word. He's trying to add 10 minutes to our thing. Funny how he say U-turn. Good God Almighty. How funny is it? Woo! You got to turn around. You got to make the change. You got to become your magic.
You know you're going the wrong way.
You are the Abracadabra.
Don't look familiar. You know you got to. I'm going the wrong way. It's up to you.
And let me tell you something. If it ain't where you want to go and it's starting to look familiar, you better U-turn too.
Oh, no, we can't grab that.
Come on now. Because if you know that ain't where you want to go again and the scenery starts looking familiar, you better U-turn from that situation too. Because sometimes it needs to look different. Because insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So if it's looking the same, U-turn for you.
Bust that U. I gotta bust this U.
Come on now. U-turn. I like that, baby. That's a good one. I tell you, he gonna find you one before the U-turn for you. Thank you. Look, cat to my girl. How you got so smart? I don't know how I got so smart, y'all. Speak, yeah. God just be using me, y'all. Let him use me, y'all. Let him use me. Let him use me. But yes, I mean, I think that's brilliant. I think that's a perfect way to come to the close of today's Become Your Magic Power Hour. Celebrate yourself first. Be willing to be accountable. To celebrate is to account for what got you to this moment. To account for how many times you got up. To account for the teacher in you, the speaker in you, the light in you. Because, I mean, everybody, Kat, Melissa, just everybody who's tuned in right now, you got something special in you. I mean, so powerful. Brittany, I mean, everybody, Star, I'm telling you, it's all about how are you tuning into you? And did you make the U-turn in your life that you deserve? You're worth turning around for. You're worth turning around for. Do you know that? That U-turn? I'm glad he said U-turn. Because nobody gets to turn your life around but you. Nobody gets to turn your life around but you.
Hey, you know you ain't a good father. You know you ain't been doing what you're supposed to do. Bust a U-turn.
Bust a U-turn. Fix that.
U-turn. Fix that shit. It ain't too late. You ain't a good mama. You know you ain't been there for your kids. That sick mom, bust that U-turn.
Some people got a 3-point. If you got to do 3 points, do what you got to do to get to where you supposed to be. You got responsibility.
Stay lit, baby.
Come on now, Cat. Stay lit, baby.
You tired of going down Broke Avenue? Bust a U-turn.
Bust a U-turn. Get the money, honey.
That was the wrong way. The money the other way.
Yeah.
Ain't no money down there. It's the other way. You going the wrong way. You got to bust a U-turn.
Bust a U-turn. Let's do some different stuff.
You just threw down your dreams. Bust a U-turn. Go back and pick them up, man. Go pick your dreams back.
Oh, I like that.
Bust a U-turn.
You forgot about your dreams. Bust a U-turn.
Bust a U-turn,
man.
It's okay. Sometimes you get down the road before you realize where you at. You like, damn, what? How'd I get way down here? Bust a U-turn.
Bust a U-turn.
Go back home.
Bust a U-turn.
Go on back where you supposed to be.
Come on now. So that's what life is all about. It's about
drop one more for me.
Celebrating. You want me to drop let me drop a quick one. Okay, so busting a U-turn. You just said bust a U-turn.
That's what I said, bust a U-turn. Make a U-turn. Right turn, yield to the U-turn.
How about moving on? That sounds like a bust a U-turn, right? Let's see. I never know. Listen, these poems, when you write and go back and read, you be like, oh, she wrote that? Okay, I see you, God. I'm with you. So we're going to read Moving On. We're going to end it out with a poem. All these are prophetic originals. So if you would like to own your copy of Precious Thoughts from the Soul, you can go to PreciousPaulin.com or you can Cash App me $40. This is a limited edition. We only have about 40 of these books left, and it's not on Amazon. This is my first book I wrote in 2007, back when I only had 2 kids and 1 on the way. So moving on. It's a new day, and I have cried my last tear. No more crying over the past. No more counting up the years. The years that have passed as I stood still in a place. Because the pain that I've been through, I left plastered on my face. I've allowed my face to tell a story because of the hurt in my eyes. And I have to remind myself of Dr. Maya Angelou, who says, and still I rise. I've allowed my body to be weakened and my spirit to be torn. And I have to remind myself of Oprah Winfrey, who says, dream a bigger dream and let your spirit move on. I've allowed my soul to go unprotected with all the things that I do. And I have to remind myself of Dr. Robin Smith, who says, stop allowing people to put their trash inside of you. I've allowed my vision to be cloudy when I try to look at me. And I have to remind myself of great ones like Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles, who saw when they couldn't see. They found the beauty of their existence, even with the lack thereof. And they first used on themselves the ability to love. So when I now look at myself, I use a positive view to learn to love myself as God shows us to. For in this world, we are losing what our purpose is all about, to love ourselves and others and know that God put us here without a doubt. That we are put here not by accident, but with a destiny to fulfill. And know that our ups and downs are all a part of God's will. It's time that we embrace our journey and love what we see and be the living testimony God called us to be. For your pain was not in vain, but for others when passing through, so others can embrace the strength they see inside of you. Because if everyone would start to live their own lives and not reflect the lives of each other, then we can start becoming more valuable to one another. A prophecy will begin to be fulfilled when we learn to love and embrace who we are. Because from the source of our pain, we will find the strength to move far. May God bless your mind and heart as you listen to my plea, as we stop imitating one another and be the best that we can be.
Yo, that was right on time.
And I think that was right on time for your U-turn. Life is about being the best that you can be. To think I wrote that poem in my early 20s. She's got a gift, I tell you. She's got a gift. I'm so glad that she is her. I feel gifted. Thank you. Thank you for giving me all that inspiration that's turned into such powerful words. Thank God I don't have so many hate poems. That mean that he was doing great. He was doing great. Love, love, love. Let me tell you guys, I always enjoy spending this power hour with you. As I say, I appreciate you plugging in to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we go through abracadabra moments that lead us to our magic, because it's all in the moment, a choice that you decide. And today was about celebrating yourself in the midst of your journey, because that's what life is all about. It is about you celebrating you so that you can know that it's time for you to move on from that stuff. Move on from those valleys and find your value so that you can get to the mountaintop and see the ladder that you climb. Chef Ron, got anything to say before I close this out?
That's a U-turn for you hit the dead end.
Oh, how about the Christmas catering, Chef Ron? I'm glad Melissa asked, because we always forget.
We're doing smoked turkey, fried turkey, macaroni and cheese.
Smoked turkey or fried turkey?
Macaroni and cheese.
Pan of macaroni and cheese. Pan of green beans. A honey bun cake.
A honey bun cake.
Or if you don't want smoked or fried turkey, you could do fried chicken wings. Did you say or no? No? No, sorry. Smoked turkey or fried turkey. Pan of macaroni and cheese, green beans, honey bun cake, delivered on Christmas Day when everything is closed. So for you to get this man out on Christmas Day for a very hearty meal, it will cost you, drum rolls please, $200. So if you would like Christmas dinner on Chef Ron, when he have 5 kids, he's going to come out. We're going to serve you, because you know what? And you have to get your order in, of course, before Christmas, because everything's closed on Christmas. That's what makes his service so valuable. And so if you want a home cooked meal, because you're going to be home, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, please treat your family to a meal that you can laugh over, love over, enjoy over, and invest in somebody who is worth planting a seed in. And so thank you, Melissa, for reminding me. Get the turkey, I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, we love you guys. As I said before, it is a relay race, and somebody is relying on you to turn your heartbeat into a soul beat in order to lead your soul print. Because the fingerprint, it tells us what you got wrong in this world, but the soul print, it tells us what you got right. And what God got right is you. And so it's your responsibility to show up. Because remember, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. I love you guys. I celebrate you guys. Don't forget to celebrate yourself on the journey. Why? Because you're worth it. He said so. Love you guys. You want to know the proof that he said so? What's the proof that he said so, baby?
You got breath.
You got breath. You know it now. I love you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.